Joining us now, my great friend Robert O'Brien, former National Security Advisor. Robert, welcome back. So, okay, momentarily or temporarily, the bombing has stopped. I want to talk to you about a couple things. One of them is, whatever diplomacy occurs, no money for Iran. No money. Please keep the naval blockade, no oil sales, keep the Scott Bessent economic fury sanctions going. Bessent, the best wartime Treasury Secretary, at least since World War II, if not longer. How about diplomacy is fine. I'm not smart enough to know the military bombing and so forth. But how about no money, Robert O'Brien? How about that one?
Well, good to be with you, Larry, and you're absolutely right, 100% as usual. No cash for these terrorists, because what do they do with the cash? They support Hezbollah, they support Hamas, they build ballistic missiles, and they work on their nuclear program. So cutting off the cash is a key. And the president has shown, President Trump is in control of this battle, of this war. And this pause that we're seeing right now is the ultimate power move. I said this is a punitive expedition. And the key to a punitive expedition is controlling the pace of the battle. And so we had 14 days straight of pounding the Iranians, not one loss of American air power, not one plane lost, not one pilot lost or downed. And now he said, okay, I pounded you for 14 days. I'm going to give you 3 days, 4 days to negotiate and see if you've come to your senses. The Iranians take a lot of convincing to come to their senses. And then he said, if you don't come to your senses, I'm going to take out Karg Island. And what does Karg Island do? That eliminates their chance of getting money ever, because they won't be able to export oil ever. And so the president is setting this thing up where he's giving them an opportunity to negotiate. But if they don't take advantage of that opportunity, they're going to never get another dollar from oil sales.
Well, I think he's tried. He's tried hard on the diplomatic front, but he's seen the failure. I think his expectations are very, very low, but we'll wait and see. The other point I wanted to talk to you about, Robert, is covert operations by our international security services, the CIA, the Mossad, and others that operate in that. How about a presidential finding? Maybe there already is one. We don't know about it. But covert operations, you know, the way Reagan helped Poland and Eastern Europe with the help of Margaret Thatcher, for example, John Paul II, that kind of thing. Whatever it takes, we should be going whole hog on that.
Well, President Trump could sure use another Margaret Thatcher in England. We don't have one, unfortunately, and Burnham is no Margaret Thatcher. In fact, he's started his term criticizing Thatcher, and John Paul II was just great. So he doesn't have that, but he's got Bibi Netanyahu. He's got strong allies in Japan and in Poland and other places. But I would rest assured that John Radcliffe, our friend, the CIA director, is very busy right now. I don't want to say anything about what they might be doing, but I would guess that they're incredibly active in Iran and in the region. And we know that the Mossad has penetrated Iran like nobody's business. The Israelis are there. We get a lot of great intelligence from the Israelis. So if I was a leader of Iran right now, I'd get to the negotiating table quickly, because when the balloon goes up and President Trump starts hammering Karg Island and Pickaxe Mountain, two targets that he's mentioned by name, and Bibi Netanyahu gets into the act, I don't think the life expectancy is going to be very long for the current leaders of Iran.
All right, so besides the economic choke point, economic fury, besides covert operations, my last suggestion here is that back to the decapitation strategy. The decapitation strategy, Israel is very good at that. Probably we are too. I'm just saying these are other ways besides the military bombing, and I don't want to comment on that. I'm just saying, what about returning to that decapitation strategy?
Well, President Trump has taken out the first two layers of leadership in Iran. He's given this third layer of leadership a chance to negotiate. If they don't, I don't think I wouldn't write a life insurance policy for them. If I was an underwriter for a life insurance policy on an application from the new Ayatollah, I wouldn't extend the insurance to them. So, look, I'd be very concerned because President Trump is a very generous man. He's very patient. But at some point, that patience is going to run out. You know him well, Larry. You know him far better than I do, and I've spent a lot of time with him. His patience is going to run out, and when it does, it's over. And this whole nonsense about the missile gap, and we don't have enough missiles or exquisite platforms to take out the Iranians. We're at the point now where we can send B-52s over without opposition. There's no Iranian Navy, there's no Iranian Air Force, there's no air defense, and we can drop. We have thousands of 2,000-pound gravity bombs that we can drop on Cargo Island and Pickaxe Mountain and destroy it. So this idea that we can't take out Iran is just ridiculous.
Well, I agree. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Former National Security Advisor, Mr. Robert O'Brien, we appreciate it very, very much.